All right, we're going to talk about some tips to working with a child who has ADHD or ADHD symptoms. Now, these are just going to be some tips, and I understand that there's a wide variety when we start talking about ADHD of how they're impacted. For the longest time, I have thought, and I still stand by it, that a lot of my parkour coaches, the really good ones, have ADHD symptoms or they actually have it. I don't know for sure because I haven't asked them, but it sure seems like it. I've struggled with ADHD tendencies. I was homeschooled, so I didn't have to get medicine. My mom was able to work around things and let me throw the ball when I needed to and let me shut the door and all sorts of stuff like that. So I was able to work around it, and I don't have ADHD severely enough that it incapacitates me in life. But I do know I have symptoms with it, and I have to learn how to work through and make that work for me instead of as a handicap. So it's important to know that what the symptoms are and how it could affect your child. But also, in my opinion, it's really important to never use ADHD as an excuse. If I were to go to the hospital and get diagnosed, that wouldn't do much to help me because I know I have symptoms of ADHD. My husband and my family know that. Apparently they know it more than I know it. But anyway, I've got the symptoms. Now I need to learn how to control it. Now, if it's a severe amount and they need medication, then I'm all for working with your doctors and doing what's best for your child. But in my opinion, you should never use ADHD as an excuse. Even if you know it and maybe you give your child a little extra grace because you know they have ADHD, never letting them use it as an excuse. Because as soon as you start blaming your ADHD or not taking your medicine, now the power is no longer in your hands and it's in the power of this ADHD thing that's this vague thing that now has control over your life. And in parkour, we're trying to be in control so we can control our movements, so we can stay safe, so we can push our boundaries. And if this thing that's called ADHD is in control of our life, well, first off, that's not safe. Second of all, we're not going to be able to progress and really enjoy parkour like it's supposed to. So I'd encourage you to be careful in how you talk to your child, even if you know they have ADHD and you know they need extra grace. Talk to them in a way that helps them be the one in control, helps them know how they need to set things up so that they can focus. Maybe they need a fidget toy, maybe they need to run around some laps. Help them find tools to help with their ADHD symptoms, but try to avoid blaming stuff on their ADHD symptoms. Because as soon as we start blaming and playing the victim, we can no longer overcome it and go as far as we could if we would accept it and work with it. I do know that there are different amounts of ADHD where some people are highly affected, and you may have to handle that differently. But just try to keep in mind how you're talking to your kids and how you're setting them up so that they can be empowered to overcome it and find strength to push and become a better person, even with the difficulties they have. A lot of times people with ADHD make amazing parkour practitioners. We just have to learn to focus. Cool thing about it though, as we learn to focus in our movement so we can stay safer and go farther and harder, we also develop focus in school and life.